Greetings, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, we have with us Sean Douglas. Sean is an Air Force veteran, TEDx speaker, master resilience implementer, and he's an international radio show host. My Sean, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our audience, and the camera is all yours. But right before starting, we want to remind you, to the audience, that if you want to help Mindalia TV reach out to more people around the globe, there is a couple of things that you can do. Just by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, or giving us a positive comment down below, you help other people like you to take advantage of the all the knowledge and all the wisdom we share in our channel. The information is very valuable. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the active chat on the side of the screen. There you can ask your questions to our guest today. And at the end of the interview or the lecture, he will be answering kindly. Just remember the format. We want you to use, please, the word question before, then the place where you're seeing us from, and then the actual question you want to be answered. Without further delay, Sean.
Hey, how's it going? I'm super pumped to be here today.
Nice meeting you and nice having you here.
Awesome. So what I'm going to talk about, I think, is like very near and dear to my heart. And it goes more so, instead of branding, it goes more so into our personal branding. Like when I think about branding, it's more than a logo. It's more than than a picture. Like we see typically in different businesses and different things. It's more than that. When I think of branding, I think of what it stands for, what it means. So my business is the Success Core. The Success Core logo is blue and gold for a reason. The key and the lightning bolt in there are there for a reason. The border around there, like everything in the logo means something. The blue and the gold are Air Force colors, which is what I'm also in, but it's also Michigan colors, where I'm from. The key is because we unlock your true potential, and then the lightning bolt, how it zigzags up, is to elevate your life. It shows a growth chart. And so the star in the center means it's part of the Air Force star. Everything that I do has a reason. And so I always ask myself before I do anything at all, 3 questions. And the 3 questions that I always ask is, 1, what am I going to do more of than anybody else in business, as a podcaster, as a speaker, doing this show? What am I going to do more of than anybody else? When I say live your brand, what I mean is you're living out every day. You're living out your core values. You're finding opportunities every day to live out the core values that you have deep in your heart. I call this living your brand. When you can live your brand, you show up in your most true, genuine, real, authentic self. When you live your brand, you live by those core values. So what I want everybody to do right now, if you have a paper, pen, I'll wait, don't worry. Grab a paper and pen. I want you to write down your top 5 core values. These are not negotiable. This is what you believe in the most. I want you to write down your top 5 core values. They can be family, something that you believe in. They can be something that you strive to be every day. My top 5 core values are God, relationships, honesty and integrity, which I believe are the same thing. So I'd put honesty and integrity. My other core value is loyalty. And then my 5th core value is transformation or impact. If I can live out these 5 core values every day, how I show up with my relationships, my friends, family, coworkers. I don't want to have family as just a core value, because relationships can mean so many different things. How I show up to my job, how I show up to with my family, how I show up to the world is more important than what I'm showing up to do. How I show up to the world is more important than how I show up than what I'm showing up to do. The task is going to be there, but your mindset, the way that you think, the way that you feel, those are under your control. So how you show up in the world is more important than what you're showing up to do. So take those five core values, once you write down those 5 core values, and look at those and ask yourself, do I live these core values every day? And say you got love as a core value. Do you show up with a loving heart, a loving mind? I say honesty. You can't tell me that core value is honesty, but then lie to certain people. You can't tell me that loyalty is a core value and then maybe cheat on a spouse or cheat on a test or, just not be loyal in general, not hang out with friends when you say that you're going to hang out with friends, not be, there when you say you're going to be there. So when you live out these core values, you are doing more. You're showing up more than anybody else. That's key. You need to show up in a way that is your true, genuine, authentic self. And how you do that is by living your core values. When you live your core values, you are showing up in your true, genuine, real, raw self. So ask yourself, what am I willing to do more of? Time and money are 2 things that people willingly never give up. Time and money are 2 things that people will willingly never give up. So if that's the case, what are you spending time on? And what are you spending money on? And whatever you spend time and money on, do they line up with your core values? So if time and money are 2 things that people willingly never give up, and I say that family is my core value, somewhere on my calendar or somewhere in my bank account, there better be time for family or relationships. Or, if say God is my number 1 core value, we go to church every Sunday and we serve in the church. I'm living that core value. Honesty and integrity. How do I live that out? How do I live honesty and integrity? Don't lie to people and show up in a way that shows that I'm completely honest and I'm doing what's right when no one's looking. So next to your core values, I want you to write down what you spend time and money on. What I want you to do is I want you to go back after this is over. I want you to go back 30 days in your calendar, and then I want you to go back 30 days in your bank account. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at the things that you spent time and money on, and then I want you to write down what you spent the most amount of time on and the most amount of money on. Let's say you go out to eat. Now, I don't care what you were going out to eat to do. Let's just say you were going out to eat. So you spend a lot of money on food, on restaurants. Why? Was it because of family? Was it because of business? Like, what was the reason why? And then see if it lines up with your core values. Same thing in your calendar. Figure out what you spent the most amount of time doing. Was it working? Was it going on vacation? What did you spend the most amount of time? If you're an entrepreneur, was it on sales calls? Was it on discovery calls? Was it building your business, developing your business, making connections? Were you flying everywhere because you're an international speaker? What is the reason that you spent the most amount of time on whatever it is? Then bump that against your top 5 core values. If they're misaligned, you have some work to do. So the first question I always ask myself is, what am I willing to do more of than anybody else in the world? The second question that I always ask myself, what will I do differently? What am I willing to do differently than anybody else? I built 3 successful businesses while serving in the military. Each business was different, but the reason why I started the business or how I went about starting the business, I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be just another speaker. I didn't want to be just another entertainment company. The first business I built was an entertainment company where I had a bunch of DJs with me and we did weddings, parties, quinceañeras. We did high school graduation parties, corporate office parties, Christmas parties, all kinds of stuff. And we were also there for sound for conferences and different things. The one thing that made us different was because of what we offered. We did more than anybody else, but we offered different than everybody else. Every package had a video, photography, like everything. Mostly it was like, oh yeah, I'll just give you sound and whatever. It was one whole package. And we even did karaoke. So we said, hey, our package includes karaoke. And they're like, that's pretty cool. So we wanted to offer things different. So how you show up in the world matters more. It matters more than what you're showing up to do. And so we showed up with a servant attitude. We showed up in a way that showed what our core values were. And it showed in our work. We offered kind of the same things, and we were offering sound and playing music, and we did all that just like everybody else would. But what we did differently was we worked directly with the client we nailed down exactly what they wanted to happen. And then we delivered, and we delivered extraordinarily well. And so it just labeled us as they're different. They're with the client. They just don't show up, and collect a paycheck. That's me as a speaker. As a speaker, I don't just show up and collect a paycheck. As a speaker, I specialize in event aftercare. When you go to a conference, everybody is super pumped. Everybody is super pumped. Well, what happens 3 days later after they leave the conference? They got great connections. Everybody handed out a bunch of business cards. You need to stay in touch with them. Well, what I do is I give a way to stay in touch with everybody that was at the event. I reach back out to the attendees, ask them what they liked, what they didn't like. I'm getting surveys. Sometimes I'll give them a survey there. Just go ahead and do it online, whatever. It's a way for me to keep in contact with the attendees there and build relationships. That's what makes people different than most speakers. Most speakers will show up, collect a paycheck, do their job, and they're out. But me, I don't do that. I want to build relationships. The same thing with my radio show. I host a show, Life Transformation Radio. I started the show because in 2008, I tried to take my life. I tried to take my life because I was battling alcohol addiction. I was getting divorced. I was losing my job, losing my house, basically losing my life. And I went through a transformation where I got help, and I had the gun in my hand. I was ready to go. And I just remember, I remember getting a phone call, and they were like, man, how are you? What are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live life like this. I can't keep living the way that I was living. So people reached out, they got me some help, and I went through this transformation process where it felt like an old piece of me died away and I was kind of born new. I was getting help. I was going to classes, taking therapy, all the stuff that you're supposed to do. And then they said, hey man, you have a powerful testimony. You should go be a drill instructor for Air Force basic training. It's like, really? Okay. It sounds like a great opportunity. I remember my drill instructor when I was in basic training, and let's do this. So I went down there and I found a passion for speaking and training and inspiring and transforming lives I never knew existed. Had I not gone through that hard stuff, it brought me to my knees. Had I not gone through that hard stuff, there would have been no point to go down to be a drill instructor. There'd be no point to learning to be a public speaker and then taking that and having a TEDx talk and a radio show and everything and sitting here with you today. There'd be no point. Everything has to happen for a reason. Everything. I can look back on the big moments of my life, and every single one of them carried me to the next and carried me to the next. And everything had to happen that way in order to make this moment today possible. So my show is hosted by Blog Talk Radio. It's called Life Transformation Radio. We highlight the why. We highlight the transformational moment in people's lives. I had a lady on there. Her child was abducted. Now, I've got 4 kids, and I don't ever want to know what that feels like. But one of her children were abducted. And she talked about the feeling of helplessness that I feel like I should have done something different. I could have I could have watched out for my kid. I could have done, all these laundry list of things that she could have done differently. But what came out of that was a podcast. What came out of that was she's a speaker. What came out of that was her getting closer to God. What came out of that was her starting a support group for other families who have had children abducted. She started a support group. And now she's world renowned. She's well known for the things that she's doing in this space for children that have been abducted, the families that are left behind. She is specializing in taking care of those families and then helping them, find the kids and all that behind the scenes stuff. But that's the transformation that she's gone through. And so I had other people like Frank Shankowitz on the show. Frank Shankowitz is the co-founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he told his story about how he was a highway patrolman. He was a motorcycle cop. He was a highway patrolman, and he met an 11-year-old boy that had a life-threatening illness, his leukemia, had a life-threatening illness. That life-threatening illness precluded him from living life like everybody else. And so he asked them, he's like, man, I really want to grow up to become a cop. I really want to grow up to become a highway patrolman, like motorcycle cop, just like you guys. So they went out, they got an officer's uniform, and they said, we're going to make you an honorary policeman for the day. Oh, the kid's world was changed. His dream came true. He made a wish and it came true. And a couple months later, Christopher passed away. Out of his death was born the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He wished for something to happen, and a community of people came together and made it happen. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation was born. You see, every movement was started by humble beginnings, every single one. Every impact that can be an impact was made because of somebody's transformation. So my message for you is to live that out. Don't hide from the scary stuff. Don't hide from bad things, because those bad things are preparing you for where you're going to. Everything you go through is preparing you for where you're going to. The guests on my show share those stories of transformation. And some people are still battling. I've had people that are still battling. They're still going through the storm. But telling their story somehow helps them and gives them a sense of purpose, gives them a sense of feeling and control. So I ask you, what are you willing to do differently? If something in your life isn't working, start living your core values. Start living all 5 of those core values and see if something doesn't change. In business, how are you going to separate your business from everybody else? As a speaker, as a podcaster, as a husband, a wife, a mother, father, brother, sister, as a coworker, what are you willing to do different than anybody else? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you. It matters what you think about you and how you show up to the world. That's what matters most. The third and final question that I always ask myself every day is, how will I connect? How will I connect? What's funny about this question is the day of social media, right? This is the day of social media. So sometimes we'll say, yeah, man, let's jump online, let's jump on a call. Okay, how are we going to connect? And you have to ask this, because I can connect on Zoom. I can connect on GoToWebinar. I can connect on through the phone, through email, through, whatever. Sometimes we ask people like, well, how can we connect? I'd like to connect with you. How can we do that? And I always ask myself, how am I going to connect? How am I going to connect with you? Everybody who's listening today, right now, how am I going to connect with you? Well, I want to start by honoring you. You could have been doing anything in the world. You could have been anywhere in the world, doing anything in the world, but you choose to show up and you choose to be here with me today. So I want to thank you for the decisions that you've made. I want to honor you for the decisions that you've made. Thank you. So how are you going to connect as a family member, as a coworker? How am I going to connect with you? It's through stories. That's how I connect. I connect through stories. You see, people buy things on three things. People buy products, they buy cars, they buy whatever based on three things. They buy on emotions. So we always want to go on like a shopping spree after a breakup. You get fired, something bad happens, and you go and buy ice cream or, whatever it is. Whatever it is that you're going to get based on emotions. The second thing we buy on is identity. And the third thing we buy on is needs. And needs being predominant, we need groceries, we need gas, we need clothes, But if you can capitalize on all three of these things, people buy on emotions, identity, and needs. If you can capitalize on all three of those, you've got a winning formula. If you can figure out how to connect with people on emotions, just a second ago, I told you that I'm a suicide survivor. And some of you are probably shocked, like, whoa, I did not expect that. Emotionally, no, you were not expecting that. And every time I tell the story, I still feel that emotion that I felt 10 years ago. What's crazy is it is 10 years since that moment. This is the year 2018. In 2008, December, I tried to take my life. This is the 10-year anniversary. This is kind of a big deal for my wife and me and the family. So, I think about these moments, and it's emotional. And we buy an identity. We don't want to live a bad life. We don't want to live a life of despair or poverty or, for whatever reason, we buy the clothes that we buy because we're seen as, well, if I buy that Eddie Bauer, or if I buy that name brand, or if I buy that certain car, if I buy that, and you can thank the media and celebrities and everybody who promotes these different products. Like if I want to buy a Lexus or a Ferrari, or if I want to, whatever the brand is that I'm trying to buy, seems to be like, oh, only celebrities buy this brand. So if you buy this brand, there's some kind of social stature. I don't even get involved in all that, but people buy an identity. They want to identify as successful. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to fail. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to fail at everything I do today. Nobody does that. It's just because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't have the identity to say that you can make this happen. And when you have needs, they need to be met, you're going to buy. So people buy on emotions, identity, and needs. How will I connect? I connect through stories. I connect through my podcast. I connect on Facebook, LinkedIn. You connect on social media. You connect by the way that you show up in the world. You show up in your real, true, genuine, authentic self, and you connect with people. Because you and I both know that people can see right through the crap. If you show up fake, they're going to call you out on it. And you right now know who you're thinking. You're thinking of somebody. If you show up and live your core values, I promise you, you will show up in your true, real, genuine, authentic self. I was leaving a conference in Sacramento. I'd never been to Sacramento, California before, but I was leaving a conference and I was one of the closing speakers, and it was, oh my gosh, it was great. Met a lot of great people. The energy was through the roof. We're clapping, we're having fun, we're high-fiving people, we're hugging. Amazing experience. And so what happens is everybody leaves the conference on a super high level. But what happens after that? Well, a bunch of us go out to dinner and we go to this restaurant and we got our phones and we're Facebook Living and we're like, oh, we're at this restaurant. It's so good. And I got the phone and I'm Facebook Living my friends. I'm like, hey guys, check this out. We're over here at this restaurant. And we're packing the place full of energy. Go through the line, the sandwich shop. We go through the line. I'm like, what are you grateful for? Yes, you guys rock. Yes, playing music, getting them pumped up. Everybody in the restaurant's like, who are these guys? So we're like, get everybody pumped up. We got our phones and I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. This sandwich is going to be amazing. And we're Facebook Living and off to the corner. And we're trying to like focus on what we're doing. But off in the corner, I see a group of senior citizens. Average age of the group of senior citizens, 96. Average age 96. So as we're Facebook living and we're high-fiving, and we're like super pumped, and we're just kind of reminiscing about the weekend that we just had in Sacramento, and we Ubered on the way here, and a super funny Uber guy. And so, the first time I've ever been to Sacramento, it's the first time I've ever Ubered, and we're having a great time. And this older gentleman, a senior citizen in thick black glasses, walks with his cane over to me and looks at me. And as I looked over, I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Are you the spokesman for this restaurant?" I was like, "No, I'm not the spokesman. No, I'm actually an inspirational speaker. I was just speaking at a conference, and the conference got over, so we're just having a meal." And he's like, "Oh, inspirational speaker." Goes to turn away and goes, "Well, I'm not inspired." I'm blown away. I'm like, "What? What?" My friends grabbed their phone, was like, "Ooh, he just got punked by a 96-year-old man." Ooh, and it's like Facebook living the whole thing, like watching me get punked by this 96-year-old man. Well, just then, as he's walking away, he high fives, right? He high fives the rest of the senior citizens over there. Like, I literally just got bullied by a 96-year-old man. Right then, the manager walks over and says, "You know what? Forget those guys. We're inspired. Our staff, me, I'm inspired." And gives us everything for free. Totally comps our entire meal. I was like, whew. Put a big smile on my face. I'm like, that's what it's all about. You inspire one person, and it causes an impact to be created, causes a transformation to take place. We walked in, they were super busy. It was a dinner rush. They were really upset. People are stressed out, but we made their day. He's like, "Man, if you guys wouldn't have came in, the day would have sucked." But because we came in, because we showed up in our real, true, genuine, authentic self, and we showed up living our core values, we lived our brand and what we think, feel, and believe about the world, and what we think, feel, and believe about ourselves, it created an impact, and it created a transformational moment where that guy, that manager, and that staff for that moment were energized, and they were happy, and they were grateful. And to have that group come and disrespect us and try to bully us and try to pull us down to their level, they saw it. They were like, "No, you inspired us," and then comped our entire meal. You never know what people are battling. You never know what people are struggling with. And you don't know the baggage that people are carrying around with them. We get real good about putting a facade on and smiling, to the world when we're in pain and we're hurting. You never know what people are battling with, and you never know what people are struggling with. So when you live your brand, you are living out your core values that you hold deep in your heart, those top 5. If you can live those out every day, you lead by example. You live by example. So as I close, I want to leave you with this. Every day, I want you to find an opportunity to show up in a way that might be uncomfortable at first, but show up in the realest way possible. Whatever those top 5 core values are, I want you to live those out. If it's honesty, then you live it out and you be as honest as you can. Now, there's a little bit of honesty, like you don't want to hurt their feelings, so you say something nice, but you're still trying to be honest. Like, cool, got it, awesome. Brutally honest, probably wouldn't want to do that, especially if you're married. Probably wouldn't want to do that. But if you can live out those top 5 values, and if, let's say, you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a speaker, people will pick up on it. Simon Sinek, in his famous TED Talk, said people don't buy into what you do, they buy why you do it. And your why is your core values. How you show up to the world is more important than what you're showing up to do. That task is always going to be there. If you show up in a crappy mindset, you're going to do a crappy job. You might tank. If you're a speaker, you might tank on stage. You might bomb that entire task and ruin it. But if you show up in a positive mindset, ready to go, focused, living your brand, I promise you, you're going to see a drastic change like you've never seen before. You're going to see a transformation in your own life, showing up as your real, genuine, true, authentic, transparent self. And people will follow you. That is how movements is created. That is how impact is made. So that's what I want you to do. That's my message for you tonight, is to live your core values. Find opportunities every day to live out those things that you hold deep in your heart. How you think, feel, and believe about the world, and how you think, feel, and believe about yourself. Show up, and show up big, and show up living your brand. Show up living your core values. That's my message for you tonight. That's what I want you to take away from this whole thing. Write down your top 5 core values. Write down the time and money that you spend on whatever it is. You're going to see a transformation. Thank you so much for having me.
Sean, thank you for sharing with us this information in such a beautiful way. We're definitely thank you. We're going to go with a segment of Q&A. And before starting, we just want to remind our audience that Mindalia TV is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to share human knowledge around the world as much as possible. If you want to help this knowledge to reach as many people as we can, there's a couple of things you can do, just liking this video, subscribing to our channel, or leaving us a positive comment down below. That's the best way to help this valuable information reach people that can benefit from it. We're going to start with the questions. We have a bunch here, and allow me to start, okay?
Okay.
First, we have, can you hear me well?
I can hear you.
Okay. Have you always had this thought pattern, or what made you think like that?
Negative. No, I did not ever have this thought pattern. I graduated high school with a 1.9, 2.0 like GP. Like, I hated high school. I had no purpose. I had no passion. But it wasn't until like me joining the military, and then but even then in the military, you know, I was still abusing alcohol. I was drunk all the time. I was fighting, like doing stupid stuff. I was getting ready to be kicked out of the military. My house actually burned down. And I lived life at a low level, but it wasn't until that suicide moment that I was just like, enough is enough. Like, I can't do this. Like, it's physically exhausting for me to live this life. And I figured I'd end it, but because I didn't, and people showed me a different way, I got into personal and professional development, and my life is 10 times what I could have imagined.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you. The next question would be, how do we find exactly our core values in a world that is evolving so fast?
Great question. Wow, that is an amazing question. Your core values are things that you believe that are not negotiable. So let's say that, you know, some people's like, well, my core value is money. That's awesome. I'm not saying that you can never value money, but the impact that's created because you have that money would be what I would, you know, lean towards. What do you value the most? If you had to list an inventory list of things in your life, what are those things, those 5 things that you can't live without? Don't say phone. It's not a materials thing. Don't think of I value my phone. I value the internet. Well, yeah, but if the internet went away, then what? I mean, 30 years ago, we didn't have internet. You know, I was born in 83. I don't think the internet was around in 83. So we got along with it fine before. I'm sure we'll get along with it if it ever was to go away. The core values are things that are not negotiable for you. What do you believe the most? Do you believe in love? Do you believe in family? Do you believe in, for example, if you believe that children are the greatest gift in the world, if that's your core value, then that's your core value. If you believe that, well, God's my number one in my life, then he's the number one in your life. That's your core value. Your 5 core values are your non-negotiable. You have to have these 5 things. If one of these things was missing, you would feel incomplete. So I say relationships because I believe that relationships is the bridge. It's the stronghold. Like when you build solid relationships and foundation, that is your support system. So I could say I value family, I value my friends, I just said relationships. It's all relationships. So how you find your core value is listing those things that mean the very most to you or what you believe the most. And so if you're anti-abortion, then that's what you believe. If you're for, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're God, if you're anti-God, if you're money, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're whatever it is, list the 5 things that without these 5 things, your life would be incomplete and would be a hot mess. And so if you believe in honesty, people should be honest with you, which is what I believe, then that's a core value. If you believe that people should, treat people the way that you want to be treated, if that's a core value, then boom, have it as a core value. But that's how you find out. It's those 5 things that you cannot live without and mean the most to you. I don't believe that women should be abused at all, ever, because I grew up in that type of environment. And so I don't think they should be physically abused. I don't think they should be mentally, emotionally, like never abused at all. I put women on a pedestal, and that's what I believe. And that's a core value, but it's not my 5 core values. So that's a super long answer for what your question was.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was very explicative and definitely a good answer.
Well, thank you for telling me I had a long answer. Nicely.
This is your space. You are allowed to do that. Do you think that many people are depressed around the world? Is that because of the fact that they are not aligned to their purpose?
Absolutely. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. People are depressed because they're not stepping fully into their passion or purpose. Because if you were in your purpose, you'd be completely aligned, you'd be completely centered, and you'd want to get up in the morning. You get up in the morning, you would you tell the world about it. When I'm on social media, I'm telling the world that I'm a speaker. You know, as soon as I get off of this, I will go onto social media and be like, oh my God, I had an amazing time on Mindalia TV. You guys got to check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube, because this is what I want to do. This is my dream. To have a TEDx talk was my dream. I want to do another one. To speak in Australia on stage is my next dream I'm trying to chase. And I want to go to Australia. I'll take the family and go to Australia. When you are fully stepping into your purpose and your passion, there is no time for you to be depressed, because you're fully engulfed emotionally into what it is that you're trying to create. So if you don't know what your passion or your purpose is right now, it's fine. I mean, I'm 35 and I'm just fully stepping into my purpose. I figured out what it was maybe 10 years ago, but now I'm fully present in my purpose. And so whatever it is that you are the most passionate about, follow that.
Awesome. Great answer. Thank you. There is, when you were talking about the industry and about the different value that you brought to your job, we had the question saying does every industry has the chance still to allow us to offer something different?
Yes, absolutely. Is that so? They're asking, does every industry have the chance to offer everything? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So there's a business strategy. So there's basically 2, but it's really one strategy. Find the book Red Ocean, Blue Ocean, and it basically talks about how if I'm a speaker amongst a bunch of, because I'm never going to be the only one on this show, right? I mean, I have a bunch of people on the show, right? So we all have that in common. All entrepreneurs have that in common, to where they're building their own life, building their own business. You know, business owners all own a business, but it comes down to how are you doing things differently. And so the Red Ocean, Blue Ocean strategy basically says that I'm a blue ocean because I own this space. Like Tony Robbins owns the motivational speaking space. John Maxwell is a leadership trainer. Who's the #1 car manufacturer in the world? I think it's like BMW now. I think they got unseated, or they unseated somebody like Toyota, somebody. But Like they are, like that's their ocean, whatever. Like Tesla is in its own ocean. So you can think of things like Walmart is like its own entity. Like they pretty much own the grocery shopping, whatever, like that's that space, right? But then somebody else comes in and starts building things like Target has groceries that you could buy, and like Super K's were becoming pretty popular. Kmart's were, groceries. And in Michigan, we have a store called Meijer. Meijer is exactly like Walmart. They have clothes, they have groceries, they have electronics, like everything that Walmart has, this place, Meijer's, they have it. And so once you become diluted, it's called a red ocean because people are fighting each other over, position or whatever. It's basically called category design. Doing things differently is creating a new category. So instead of me saying, I want to be a speaker, I have to say, well, motivational speaker. Okay, well, there's 50,000 of those. Scratch that. How about inspirational speaker? It has a lot of those too. Okay, what about transformational speaker? Not a whole lot of those. Well, let's niche it down even further. So really what I am as a speaker, I'm a master resilience implementer. That's what I am. I'm a master resilience implementer. I'm a resilience trainer, resilience speaker. So that's what and so I had to brand myself as something different. Same with my show. Every podcast is on Libsyn, Blueberry, Podbean. They're all podcasts. They record an episode. Months later, they upload the episode, and then you have a podcast. I'm not like that. My show is literally Life Transformation Radio is a live online radio show. You can actually click the link and listen to the show as it's being recorded. 10 minutes later after I end the episode, it's uploaded to iTunes, Stitcher, all the podcast catchers. And that's how I've differentiated my show. I've had people call into the show because I have a way, as a radio show, to have guests call into the show. And so I've had people call from Australia. I've had people call from UK, Canada, from Mexico. I've had people call all over the United States. I've had people call into my show and talk to the guests, and they become a part of the show. And so that's how I've differentiated myself as a podcaster. Is I'm not just a podcast, but I'm an online radio show. So yeah, every industry it has the opportunity to create their own category. Like Uber. Uber's a category king. Nobody is like Uber. Yeah, you have Lyft, but Uber did it first. Just like Google. Google's a category king. Back in the day, they had Ask Jeeves. If you wanted to ask something, like ask the internet for something, you'd go to Ask, like ask.com. It was Ask Jeeves. Now it's Google. And what separated Google was they have email, they have the calendar, they have Google Sheets. Like all of the stuff that Google offers is different than anything else. AOL was the first ever like inside messenger, AOL, like, and then Yahoo Messenger came out, and then MySpace, and then Facebook. So it's evolved. And none of those other things are there anymore. I mean, Yahoo still has the messenger stuff, but MySpace isn't there anymore. AOL's gone. Even Toys R Us is gone. Toys R Us, toy store. I don't know any other toy store in the world. They're gone now. So there's always a way for you to create, another category, another differentiator in the market. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We have here, is there an age limit to find our purpose?
Oh, yeah, right. No way. No way. You could be 70 years old and find your purpose. My grandfather, super funny. My grandfather retired and did a bunch of things. He was in real estate. He was in the pharmaceutical company, everything. And at about 60 to 70 years old, he's like, I'm going to raise pheasants. I'm going to raise pheasants. And had like 1,000 pheasants sitting in the back. He had 10 acres of land. And they were, bird cages everywhere. He built these huge bird cages. He had like 1,000 pheasants. Guy's like 70 years old. And he's raising pheasants. No way. You could be 80 years old and find another purpose, But how you know that you're like, I was meant to do this is because when you wake up in the morning every day, even when you don't want to do it, you want to do it. Whenever you're sick, you're like, I'm feeling sick, I got to go lay down. You're thinking about what you could be doing. You're thinking about what you could be missing out on. You're thinking about what's my next move? What's the impact I can create? What's what I got to do next? And you're always on a forward motion journey. And when that happens, you're in your purpose. And when you can smile about the results that you want to achieve, that's the purpose. You're in your purpose. And how you live that out is living it through your core values.
Amazing. Sean, why are we so disconnected from our passion? That's the next question.
Why are we disconnected from our passion? I'm going to blame it on social media. I'm going to blame it on social media. I can Google anything I want. Your questions, I could put it into Google and Google will probably try to find an answer. But really, it comes down to the human element. I mean, really deep connection, deep passion comes from the human energy that is exchanged, comes from conversations on it. I want everybody right now, if you just, I'll prove my point. Write down on a piece of paper the person that you love the most in the world. Just write it, like, is it your mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle? Maybe it's a friend that you haven't seen in like 20 years. Write down the person that you love the most in this world. Okay? Do that. Then what I want you to do is I want you to get a hold of that person, call them, text them, email them, something, and tell them how much you love them and why. Why do you love them? And I promise you, doing this exercise, you will feel passion coming out. You will feel gratitude coming out. The human connection is what gives us the passion. When I'm on stage, it'd be no fun to talk to a room full of empty people. It wouldn't be any fun. When I'm on Facebook Live on the phone, when I'm doing like Facebook Lives, you know, I'm talking to people. They're interacting with me. It would be no fun just to talk it like I'm talking to you. You know, I mean, I know you're on the other end. You're going to ask me questions like this is awesome. But if it was only me talking for like 50 minutes and go, okay, guys, see you, and like hit the end button, like, yeah, it's great, but like to be something missing, right? I mean, there's an element that's missing. We're disconnected from our passion because we don't have somebody pushing us. We don't have someone fanning our flames to light our soul on fire. I always tell people before I leave the stage, I said, you need to be relentless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. That is how you gain passion. That is how you gain purpose. Be relentless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.
Thank you, Sean. We are almost reaching the end of the Q&A.
Okay.
But there is something that I don't want to leave without it being said. They ask, it is so hard to be authentic. You talk about being authentic. What advice do you give us to have the courage of being our true selves?
Your true self is how you are when no one's around. We're more concerned with what somebody else thinks about us more than we are concerned of what we think about us. I give so little about what other people think about me. I'm free to do whatever I want. I am free to do, I can get on a plane and I can go and do whatever, anywhere that I want to go, because I'm not afraid what people think about me. For example, I was driving from Utah to Las Vegas. I was speaking at a podcast festival, and we stopped at a gas station, and on the wall are these medieval helmets. They're like $69. All I thought about was like, how cool would that be if I bought a helmet, got on a plane, put the helmet on in the seat, and then you are the one that's looking for your seat. 23, 20. Yeah, no, I need another seat. Excuse me. I need another seat. And I'm just sitting there with a smile on my face with a big old medieval helmet on my face. Like, I care little about what other people are going to make fun of me. They're going to hate me. That I'm not out to please other people in the sense that I want to feel good about myself. That's not why I please people. That's not why I inspire people. I inspire people because they need it. I inspire people because it's something that I love to do. It brings my life value to do that. And so, if I'm going to have this medieval helmet and people are like laughing, like, oh, what an idiot. I'm like, I don't care. But if somebody's like, wow, dude, that's funny. Got it. If people are going to put me down, if people are going to bash me, they're not my friends and they're not my audience. Just saying. So for you to show up in your true, real, authentic self means that you care nothing about what other people think about you. There should be about 3 or 4 people that you want close to you that are going to pick you up and fan your flames. Okay, that's like mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, a spouse, kids, your best friends. But outside of your inner circle, what I call your personal board of directors, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. And I live my life that way. And I am very happy because I don't have to worry about what other people are saying behind my back. I don't have to worry about what other people think about me. So, something to think about.
That was amazing. And let me see, because there is
I'll try
okay.
to keep them shorter. I'll try to keep them shorter.
No, 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 no. You don't have to. This is, as I told you, this is your space. Um, this is a little bit hard to read, but let me try and
Okay.
translate. um, so many people start connections aggressively. Is that based on fear? How can we be kind and grateful and still don't allow people to take advantage on us?
That is a great question. And you're 100% correct. It's based on fear. Absolutely. What really makes me mad is that I'll meet somebody on Facebook. I'll get an instant message. Hey, do you like freedom? Like, what kind of question is that? Yes, I do. And I know what they're trying to do. Like, you should buy Bitcoin. Like, oh, here we go. Here we go. You're stupid if you don't buy Bitcoin and block. Like, it's that simple. For me, it's that simple. I will block you because I am so focused on what I want to create. I have no time for that stuff. Yes, absolutely. They're afraid and they want to get to the point and they're not building that human connection because they honestly don't care. They don't care about the human connection. People will buy things from you that they know, like, and trust. If they know, like, and trust you, they'll do business with you. If they know, like, and trust you, they'll hang out with you. If they know, like, and trust you, they will become your best friends. But they have to know, like, and trust you first. And so people form aggressive, like, I've gone to networking events. Here's my card. Here's my card. I'm like, okay, you need to stop. Like, that was super weird, right? They form these relationships aggressively out of fear. They don't want to be alone. They're afraid to be rejected. That's the biggest thing is people feel rejected. They don't want to have the rejection. If I fail, they're afraid of failure. If I fail, okay, well, I got to figure something out and do it differently. So whoever said that is rock star. You're a rock star, 100%.
Sean, thank you. Finally, where can we find you? Where can our audience find you? What are the ways to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So I'm on Facebook. You can look me up, Sean Douglas. I believe like the facebook.com/ is like Sean, SEAN, Sean Candy Douglas is like the website thing, but it says Sean Douglas on there. I have a bunch of different pages. Life Transformation Radio is a page. I have a Facebook group community, Life Transformation Radio community. All my guests are in there. We talk back and forth. You're more than welcome to join that Facebook group. I have a Facebook group also called The Success Core, CORPS. That's where we talk life and business and strategies. And if you're an entrepreneur, speaker, or business owner, that is the group for you. That is the group. Life Transformation Radio community is for everybody else who is not an entrepreneur, speaker, or business owner. And we talk about life. We talk about living in our purpose and our passion. And I'm also on LinkedIn. That's the only two. I don't do Snapagram or InstaChat or like any of the other weird ones. I don't do any of that stuff. I do Facebook and I do LinkedIn. And my website is www.thesuccesscore, thesuccesscore.com. And that's my website. And I'd love to hang out with you, speak to you, and, just build connections, build that human connection that I'm talking about.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We want to thank you for sharing this with us. It was not only great content, but you shared it in a very beautiful way.
Thank you.
And we want to thank our audience for being with us, for the questions, for joining us. And before leaving, we also want to remind you, as we said before, that if you want to help other people to get this content, this knowledge, just like our video, share a positive comment down below, subscribe to our channel. It's going to be a great way to have all these spread around the world. And we want to, before saying goodbye, we want to leave Sean to leave a message to our audience and say his goodbyes for now.
Well, how I sign off my show all the time is I tell everybody, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you have deep in your heart. I call that living your brand.
Thank you so much, Sean. And this is all for today. We want to thank you again for being with us. And thank you, Sean. And thank you for joining Mindalia live streaming. And until next time.
Thank you.